Relish, pleasing or zestful flavor.
A quantity just sufficient to flavor, to be pleased or gratified by. Enjoy.
We are hoping that what we bring to your table today might add some spice to your life.
Welcome back to another episode of Relish. This is Don Patterson. I'm Rowan Miller, and we are here.
We are here.
That's pretty much it.
That's what we will commit to today. We are here. Okay. You'll love this one. You'll love this one.
Oh, yeah?
What has been the most draining thing in your life lately?
I feel like there's several factors in there, but up until this last week, I guess it's probably about a month ago, but it's basketball. Just day in, day out, late nights, early mornings at times,
Bus trips. Yeah.
film watching, all of that. That and just like trying to balance family, basketball, friends, just not a lot of free time. So I think basketball is the biggest part of that, but yeah, it'll get subbed in by golf and soccer this spring. So
Golf and soccer.
the same thing coming out. Yeah.
And that'll be draining. Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. I guess I think about draining things and realize that, it can be one thing one season and something else will drain another season. But part of it builds our resilience. In other words, how would you know how strong we are unless we had something we were constantly working towards and putting effort into? And so I began to look at draining things as, that's pretty well normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's definitely experienced that. Like, people will be like, oh, you have morning practice. That's horrible. And I'm like, I mean, it's not that bad. Like, I get to go after school now.
What else would I be doing?
Kind of just what it becomes and what it turns you into. But yeah.
And what it makes of you.
Right.
After you've invested in it. Yeah. It's good. And you guys did a real good job this season.
Yeah.
Basketball.
Yeah. Wish you could have
exceeded expectations. You exceeded.
Right.
That's good. That's good. Okay, I'm ready now.
All right. What does the Bible say about climate change?
It's going to happen.
I somehow saw that coming.
Yes. And when you go through the Old Testament specifically, there are times that climate did change because we know that there was times of drought. That's what drove Jacob to come to Egypt to find his son. I mean, he wouldn't have found Joseph if there hadn't been the drought. We also have it in Kings. You go to the last part of First Kings, and all of a sudden Elijah's in this. He basically says, "Okay, Ahab, there's going to be no rain until I could say there's going to be rain," and there wasn't any rain. And even Elijah had to put up with that and deal with the fact that there wasn't rain and there wasn't food. And Ahab wasn't happy about that. And so then that brings them to Mount Carmel. Notice, those are not consecutive events. I mean, they happened hundreds of years apart.
Right.
Ruth, Naomi and her husband left Bethlehem and went to Moab because of drought. And there was famine in the land. So every time in the Bible you talk about famine in the land, there's been a change of climate. And some of those are bigger than others, and some of those are smaller. We do know that even as we look at the Old Testament today, the area that is now desert maybe wasn't then desert. Because the Fertile Crescent, above the Holy Land would have been actually green at that time. Euphrates area, that was not have been desert at that time. It would have been lush. And so something's changed.
Right.
And it's been that way for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
It's not something that happened because somebody drove a truck and put out black smoke. This is something that happened over hundreds of years. And you think then of the 30s and the dirty 30s. And my grandfather talked about the times that the sandstorms would come up in western Kansas and how it, it would blow so fine of ground, dirt, it would come through every crack in the house.
Wow.
And so there was just dirt everywhere. You just couldn't get away from dirt. And wells would give out. And so there wasn't as much water as there should be. So that's happened in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I would say we're almost due for that again. That event of the 30s caused guys to put hedgerows in to stop the erosion, to stop the wind from tearing up the ground like it did. But I remember in my time that the wind would come up bad enough in Kansas, in spite of our hedges, that we would have to go out and make sure we harrowed it up a little so that we'd save what topsoil we could.
Yeah.
That I think those are subtle environmental changes, climate changes that happen on a repetitive basis that we probably ought to figure will happen. And I'm not sure we can identify what's being called climate change in a major event, because I look at the world right now from growing up in the 60s, and I remember when LA had smog.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think LA has smog anymore.
Right.
And I remember hearing about London and the acid rain. And I remember visiting London in 1977, and you could see how those buildings were being cleaned up. And it wasn't quite the problem. And as I have done some looking lately, you don't see those buildings with that black crud on it like they had back even in 77.
Huh.
So
it's almost a cleansing.
Almost a cleansing. And so I'm beginning to think, well, now, wait a minute. If it seems like these things are turning around, are we really having climate change?
Yeah.
And so I sort of put a feeler on that, saying, boy, when I look at the Bible, one major climate change event was the flood.
Yeah.
That was major.
That'll do it.
That was major. And so that changed the flood, the climate big time. I think we even could look at the text in such a way and realize that somehow between there probably was an ice event, either regional ice event.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's in the Bible. It's sort of regular, like the famines came on a fairly regular basis. And I think we would be naive to think that that's not going to happen in our time. That kind of famine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a concern. And as I look at the Bible, well, we've been here once before, or twice before, or 3 times before. It's just nice to be able to grab a hold of the history and realize it's not forever.
Yeah. Jesus was human, but when he died, he became a spirit. Does he look like a human now?
Well, that's interesting because I think he probably took on his presence that he had before and after. I mean, we have it in Daniel, and he's robed in white, and it has a gold gird around his waist, and his eyes are like fire, and his let's see, his countenance is eyes like lightning. His countenance is like blithe. Anyway, and we almost have the same thing in John's Revelation. Almost exactly the same kind of presentation of who Jesus is. So I think he probably put on that kind of presence, if you will. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, guess what? We get to have that kind of, he's going to make us like his own glorious body.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I mean, so apart from the Gospels where he came down in physical flesh, referenced in Philippians chapter 2, he is now in his majestic person.
Okay.
Yeah, majesty.
Yeah.
We worship his majesty. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's very special to think of the Lord Jesus the way he is now and the way he's back in his glory.
Yeah. Did humans come from monkeys?
Oh, heavens, no.
I
I
figured I'd test you a little.
Yeah,
That question.
good test. Good test. Yeah, there's nothing in the Bible that would say that humans came from monkeys or even molecularly related to monkeys, other than the fact we all have blood. And all living creatures have blood.
Well said.
Yeah. Nope, no apes. No.
Yeah.
I have a cousin that I'd wonder about, but but no. And I won't say which cousin either, because they might be listening.
They'll know.
Well, I probably will.
How do we know which Old Testament laws still apply today and which don't?
Ah, that's a good one. And we had this in Bible study not long ago. I tend to think that the more we live out our discipleship, the more we're going to live into the importance that those things that God originally gave his disciples still hold traction. And you look at the 10 commandments that he gave in Exodus chapter 20, those are pretty basic for being a believer in Jesus Christ. The thing about having maybe two different kinds of threads in your clothes, a garment of two threads, two different kinds of material. I'm beginning to think that there's probably some truth behind that. I'm not ready to give up my nylon yet, but in my what is it? Polyester. I'm not willing to give up my polyester. They've worn so good all these years, but at the same time, if I'm thinking of the law as being a way that I could tell God by how I live the law that I really care about what he values. Now, how can we be better at worship than telling the divine that what he's actually said means something?
Yeah.
To me, the more I treasure his law, value his words, is my way of saying, God, I believe you.
Right.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, I believe what you say is true. And so, boy, it might mean I give up bacon.
Or ice cream.
Or oh, ouch, that hurt. But I value what God says. And so the more I get into his word, more I understand what it means, understand his heart towards me, then I will begin to value more what he said and implement it as part of my life, as the way I live with my friends and neighbors and countrymen, and the way I live towards him.
Yeah. It's almost like when somebody gets you like, I don't know, a shirt or sweatshirt or something, not necessarily your favorite, but you're going to see them. And so you put it on.
Right.
And
Precisely.
So that they'll notice. And
yeah.
Because you value them and respect them and thankful for them. And
yeah. And we have to realize that a lot of those laws were given to a barbaric people to civilize them, if you will, and create an atmosphere that they would grow and strengthen as a culture. And so, they weren't going to eat things with blood in it, because there were whole civilizations that disease was brought into their midst by their eating blood. Same way, the Ham was carrying those kind of things at that time because they were bottom feeders. And so God was protecting them through the law. Well, if God loved them enough to protect them through the law so that they could become a strong nation, maybe that has some truth to breathe into our lives.
Yeah.
even though we do like ice cream.
I do too.
There's nothing in the Bible about ice cream, I don't think. But yeah. Yes. Traverse City. Cherry mocha ice cream. Have you had that yet? Oh, I ought to get you some. Oh, that's just the sight of heaven.
Alrighty. Works for me.
I'm serious.
Do you think in like Israel's time, clothes made of more than one fabric was less common than it is today?
It was less common. You either had wool, you had linen, grown flax, that kind of thing. The hides, like leather. And so it's really hard to put leather and linen together and really have it go very well. That just doesn't, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
No. And so it was less likely at that time than it is now that we have so many different compounds that are used in our thread.
Yeah.
Silk would have been somewhat known, but it was very, very scarce. Definitely only the fabric of a king.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your image of heaven, is heaven like the Garden of Eden, or is it like the houses that we have now?
Well, it's closer to the Garden of Eden. I look in the Revelation chapter 21, 22, and realize that, okay, so this heavenly city comes down and it's all square and it's all got gold streets. But it also says that there's a river running through it.
Yeah.
And the tree of life, the one they were kept from back in Genesis chapter 3, the tree of life is there giving its fruit for the healing of the nations. So it has to have some green space.
Right.
Yeah, it's not all going to be a city. It has to have some green space because of that. And I just think that's so cool.
Yeah, full circle moment.
Full circle moment.
You're in Revelation.
I am in Revelation, and I'm looking at, here we go, River of Life 22. And then this angel showed me the River of Life as clear as crystal. Yeah, makes Colorado streams look hazy. And on each side of the river stood the tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit, yielding its fruit every month. And the leaves of the trees are for the healing of the nations. There'll no longer be any curse. The throne of God and the Lamb will be in the city. So it's that same city that's talked about in 21. And his servants will serve him, and they will see his face, and his name will be on their foreheads. Revelation 4:7. Yep. There'll be no more night. Man. No need for orthopedic beds anymore. No night.
Oh,
yeah.
Sometimes that's the best part of the day.
Right. But I think it's going to be beautiful. And the fact that it's not only going to be beautiful, but it's going to be functionally healing for the nations, for what's going on around it. We would hope for heaven on earth, but somehow the way I live would be healing to you. The way you live will be healing to me. The way we live together will be healing to the community in which we live. And we would hope for that in the here and now. It will actually be a reality in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's not heaven, then it must be Kelowna. Right. No. Yeah.
Is this heaven?
Is this heaven?
Oh, it's Kelowna.
It's Kelowna. Yeah. Okay.
All righty. Thank you, Don, as always. Thank you, all the students at Hillcrest. This was actually, all these questions were from middle schoolers, high schoolers at Hillcrest.
Good questions, guys. Did a good job.
Yeah. If you enjoyed it, share it with somebody, share it with a friend, give us some feedback. Submit your questions to me if you have any.
And clarifications.
Right.
If you want clarifications or you have further questions, that the questions begat questions,
Right.
Questions can begat questions.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Especially the way I answer them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. We'll see you guys next time.
Lord willing.
Thank you for joining us for this podcast. Feel free to become part of this ministry by sharing it with others. Our goal is to help each other grow deeper in our understanding of who God is and His calling to us in our daily lives. Thank you again for joining us, and may God bless your day.